Anybody need sweet gum seedlings? I bet you don't. That's going to be an issue. Time to clean the gutters, folks. Welcome to the gardening edition of Jekyll Baits in the Backyard. What are you doing, Casey? Are you going to start a fire? I don't know. It's been raining for days. I think the wood's wet. Okay, y'all. This is not my average fishing video. It's not a spray session. This is kind of almost a homesteader's video, because this is the first year that I have done anything other than container gardening. I've done tomato plants and peppers, and that's it. So we're going to take a walk around the garden, and I'm going to tell you what's worked, what hasn't worked, what I'm excited about, and the things that I struggled with a little bit this year. So most of the things, in fact, everything but this caladium and that butterfly bush in this side of the garden, I started from seed. And I started seed on Memorial Day weekend, which would have been like May 26th, 27th. And from then until now being June 22nd, it's the second day of summer. And all the rain that we've gotten in North Georgia, it has gone crazy on this side. This cucumber right here, which is a Boston pickling cucumber, I've got 4 varieties of cucumbers. And I've got those here, here, there, and there. This one is a Boston. This one is a straight 8. And then I've got some burpless. These are burpless beauties. And they're doing really well too. I'm going to need to pole those soon because they're going to go crazy. And I'm going to have to not only pole but string. So I'm going to pole both of these and the peas. I've got peas over here. And then I'm going to string up like a ladder from the outside. I'm going to get a larger and then just string it across like I have on these. And see how that works. It's probably going to be a hot mess and a jungle, and it's a space thing. So I've got the space to do it, but I hadn't done it before, so I wanted to start fairly small. This is a 6x12, and I started with untreated cedar, and I used these things separate pallet loads. And if you ask real nice at your lumber type places like Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards, wherever you guys are, or wherever you have one that they have a lot of pallets, can usually get these for free. So I got 4 of them for my corners, and I cut a point into them. They're 4 feet long, and then right now they're about a foot into the ground, and they're cemented. So that works for me. And then I just used regular old, obviously ungalvanized. I used the wrong screws for them, but it's okay. It hasn't hurt anything so far, unless there's stuff that I don't know about. But those are ungalvanized drywall screws, which is what I had at the time. So I'm making do with the budget that I had. I blew the budget on this cedar because I couldn't find any planks that were untreated at my local store except for these. But they smell nice and they're pest resistant. Things don't eat at them like they do other woods. So that was pretty cool. The beans are fantastic. I've got blue lakes, pole beans, bush beans, and they're going to go crazy too. But they are climbing. They're starting to climb, and you can see where the twine has just started to wrap around. These were all started from seed, and they were all placed around June 6th, I want to say, on this side. I'll have to go back and check. I've been keeping like a photo record of this stuff. I've got 4 sweet peppers. They are red and orange. I've got 2 orange and 2 red peppers, sweet reds. These are Amish paste tomatoes from fellow YouTuber and super cool guy Gene Jensen. Fluke Master, if you guys are YouTube fans and you watch fishing and you're on this channel because of that. So he donated, like 2 beds of these, 2 crates or cases. I don't know the terminology, but anyways, there were 10 plants on each one. And Mom got 10, I got 10. They've been a little tricky. I've run into some early blight with them, and I ran into some early blight with some store-bought. So at least I thought it was blight. It's possible that I don't know what I'm talking about, because this is the first year I've ever had any problems with my tomato plants. But I didn't have problems with the ones from Jean, just the store-bought ones. Now, having said that, we had a ton of rain. So I know that they got oversaturated, but I did pull them and quarantine them out here. I put them in fresh soil. I'm not cross-contaminating or moving things in or out of the garden or changing the soil or mixing the soil. So once I pulled them out, I pulled the soil completely down off of them, rinsed them, and then put them in new pots. And some of them look like they're doing better. This one is a Husky Cherry variety, but the ones that have really suffered have been the Cherokee Purples. Like, I got 5 of those, and just about all of them looked horrible within a week of me planting them. And I've kept them, I've grown them before, and I never had an issue. I always had like the biggest, they would fruit almost continually through the summer, and they have like a purple vein that goes through the red fruit. They're delicious. They're really good. So over here we've got the Amish paste tomatoes, which Jean grew, I think, from seed, or he got from Lavender Mountain out in Rome, Georgia. These are Sweet Millions. That is, and these are from seed also. I've got a bunch of seeds, and we're going to go into that here in a bit. This is Aroma, and that is Aroma over there, that little guy. And then you can see that I've got some pollinator plants in here with them to help the bees come in here. The butterfly bush has already been getting hit with bumblebees. I don't see any now. It's just quit raining, so... But we've had like tons and tons of bees this year, which I'm super excited about. So that, oh yeah, and these, I've got Echinacea, and I think that's a Shasta daisy. And then these are the Abe Lincolns that were heritage heirloom seeds from 2012 that I didn't think were going to come up, and then they came up, and then it got rained on for like 2 weeks straight here. This is the second rainiest place here in North Georgia and up into Carolina, like the Nantahala area and the Blue Ridge Mountains. The second rainiest in the United States, second to the Northwest coast, which is a subtropical rainforest. These guys are the Black Beauty that Mom gave me. She gave me like a bunch of varieties. They were all heirlooms. But these are doing really well, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, that's this part of the garden, and I started it May 27th, so not bad for just a few weeks. Casey, let's take him over here. Come on. What are you eating? Get, rascal, no, boy. Oh my God, no. He's got this thing for pumpkin. No, I didn't hit him, but gosh dang, like he does this every year. He finds this one plant that he gets obsessed with, and then he has to eat it. Like, he's destroyed cucumber plants. This is a field pumpkin, so it's not, I can't even say that in front of the plant. It is a huge loss, because I would like to have the great pumpkin in our backyard this year. I mean, come on, who wouldn't? But Rascal, Rascal is, he thinks he's a gardener, and he thinks he's helping, and he's got a veggie bone in his body. He loves cucumbers and squash and tomatoes, which is another reason to move from container gardening to a raised bed. I had to with tomatoes, because he's like a little prairie dog. I'll find him standing up on his back legs and just picking off tomatoes. But that's Rascal. That's just who he is. God bless him. So yeah, if you have that happen, you got to cut it below where the split is. It'll produce from here, and it'll be okay, but it really sucks, because that that sets us back a little bit because that was the leading runner. So, oh well. On to the next group of plants. So the next task that I have for myself is, these are the rest of the, and there's some more aromas. And I labeled everything except for the heritage stuff from 2012 because it was really slow to start. But then they just shot up, like out of this world shot up. So these are the remainder of what I have to split. Got some Romas, got some beefsteak. I'm gonna separate them out into these cups, and I'm using the same soil that I started these as to continue. So this is all the same soil, but before I do that, I'm gonna rinse all this out really good. Just regular tap water out of the hose, no big deal there, and then let it dry, if it will, because this has been our weather. So we've just really been hit with some rain, just heavy, like it rained for hours and hours and hours. These are mammoths, and they're about a week away. I have to point up at that because it's about 8, almost 9 feet tall. I can barely reach it, and that's me I'm 5'1" on a good day, but I can't hardly even reach the top of that. So pretty cool. And it's getting ready to go. But the task is now separating these out. And Roma's just, it's like the Amish paste tomatoes, like Jean was talking about. They get super crazy as far as their growth rate. But this is completely overgrown, so I'm gonna separate a bunch of these out and try and find the strongest ones. I'm sure this whole thing, if I pull it out, is probably way root bound, but I'm not gonna do that until I'm ready to separate it. I grew some lupine this year because I love lupine, and it's a great attractor. It's a good pollinator, but I'd never had success. This year, for some reason, everything's going pretty wild. What are these? If it's not labeled, it's heritage. So this is a flower of some sort, maybe Morning Glory from 2012. And I think you can still see little pieces of seed stuck to some of the undersides where these are grown up. But these I could just plant by the fence like I did with the chicken over there, and they'll go crazy and start running. I've got Morning Glory in the garden too. It's just a all-around good, fun little plant. I think these are also tomatoes that were old that I didn't expect really to do anything, but now that they're living, I want to try and keep them living. So we'll go check out the chicken. This is the Morning Glory rooster. Instead of crowing, it's got Morning Glory, and that's probably just bird poop. That's all that is. But these will also go crazy, and they'll put out beautiful purple viney flowers, and they'll just grow and grow and grow through the years. And if they make it to the ground, which I would encourage them to do that on the fence, then they will come back next year because they're almost invasive. They're almost like trumpet vine or wisteria. They're beautiful, but you really got to be careful with them. But they seem to be doing very, very well. So real quick, that's just the rooster. And this came from Tractor Supply. I want to say it was less than $15, like 14-ish, $13.99. Just really cool little hanger for the fence. More pumpkin. This is an English gray pumpkin, and they're pretty much just gourds. You could probably eat most pumpkins, but not for consumption as far as I know. I haven't really read about them. I just had one on the patio that lasted through January before it collapsed, and I just pushed it in around these pots, and that's the result. This spring it came up tons of volunteers on its own, so I'm just kind of grooving with it to see what it does. These are more sunflowers, obviously not mammoths like these dudes right here, but I've got a few just kind of hanging out, getting happy. Cosmos and Johnny Jump Ups I've got some Johnny jump ups that are volunteers from the bird seed. I've got a bird feeder here. And then we've got one back there. That hawk is teaching its baby how to hunt. They do it every year. We've got this huge red-shouldered hawk's nest in our woods behind the house. And it'll call and the baby will answer, and they like gang up on squirrels and all kinds of stuff. So we have a three-legged cat that you probably have seen in some of the really old videos from Jonesboro. But she does not come out anymore, especially when we hear the hawks, because she's little enough and slow, and just not a good thing. We want her safe. Mom gave me these. I have no earthly idea. I want to say it's some sort of onion or chive, definitely in that family, but I think they're just ornamental. I don't think that there's an edible potential for that. Begonias, geraniums, lots of pinks and yellows, because I also learned that bees can't see red. I learned that this year, I think, from someone at Lavender Mountain. I think Tara Peace, who is their garden center manager, was mentioning that as she was quickly telling me how to save orchids, and I'm sure I quickly forgot everything that she taught me. But Tara, if you're watching this video, I've been like just destroying videos on YouTube, so hopefully I'll learn. I found some really cool channels on orchids, and that's another video. I've got a few that I'm rescuing out front on the front porch. They're hanging out with my giant corn plant. But this is what we got going on right now. And that is all the news that's fit to print. Bean. Oh yeah, hang on a second. That's one of them. So this bean was the first, well, not the first, but one of the first beans that sprouted. And they're black beans from 2012. And it was the first plant that I really freaked out on. I'm like, Mom, they're not going to grow. They're too old. She's like, you can't keep a good bean down. She was right. Not that I'm going to tell her she's right. Mom, you're right. Cheers. Not happy casting. So, happy growing. I'll see you guys on the next one. If you guys like this content, let me know. I will do a few more of these as the year progresses, and you can see what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. Leave your comments if you think I should have destroyed those plants, even though the tomatoes down there. If you think I should have destroyed them, if they were blighted or if they were just overwatered. I'm not 100% sure what the problem is. Somebody that really knows what they're doing probably could say, hey, it's this or it's that. But some of them are starting to come back, and I hope that I've separated them enough, but I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't want to kill them. It's just me. We'll see ya. I know, you guys don't need much water, but you look really thirsty. So let's give you a drink. And then we're going to set you up here with the rest of the rescue succulents. And these are, columbine. How about that? Is that right? No? Yes, columbine and Canterbury bells. Cool. Don't like those spots. I don't know what that means. But probably that they're overwatered and it's time to plant them in the ground or in a pot.